You hear it here first on the Tack Box Podcast. If you have carpet in your house, just go rip it out tonight. It's okay. Your husband,
It's okay.
your wife,
It's
they
all
won't
right.
care.
Yeah.
Just rip it up. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tack Box Podcast. Tyson here, and I am alongside my co-host Dale, fresh back from Rome. You have the full of Rome. Like, tell us about that. Like, how did Rome go?
Oh, man, it was amazing. It's 10 hours there, 12 back, but then on the 12 back, we picked up a 1 hour in each end with weather to add to it. So kind of actually made the return trip about like 14 hours, lots of dogs I saw in Rome, lots of purebred dogs. I saw Pomeranians, I saw Australian Shepherds, I saw a couple Border Collies, some Poodles, out walking the streets. And I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty cool. We got purebred dog appreciation. I thought that was pretty neat. And it was a quick trip, just 3 days of touring, but then we did, we covered a lot of ground. It was pretty neat. We did have one issue. We ran into King Charles and Camilla because they went and were visiting the Pope, and because Charles, which nobody likes him anyway, he's really, everyone's team Diana. And, here, we don't like him anyway. He's shutting down the Sistine Chapel and the Basilica. They actually had to turn the Wi-Fi off because they thought, which that's part of the reason I got lost out running, was because the Wi-Fi went down and my Google Maps went boop, and that was kind of interesting because they were wanting people to, I guess, communicate to track to doing King Charles. It's like, oh geez,
It's a
But
process.
anyway,
Jeez.
yeah, I'm telling you.
And you
Yeah.
weren't late for anything. Everybody was on
No,
time and
we're not
available for
late.
all of the things.
We were on time, which with considerable effort on my nephew's part, because punctuality is not one of his many qualities, but I'm sure that'll come with time or get left somewhere like Rome.
It grows with age, yeah. Or you get left in Rome, yeah.
Or you get left in Rome,
It only takes one
Yeah.
time.
I think you leave them once internationally. I'm not a parent, but I don't know. Is it bad parenting if you leave your kids in a foreign country?
I'm a parent and I'd do it. They'd probably like it better than coming back home, you're in Rome.
Probably.
So,
yeah.
Did you have any good
Yeah.
food? Like any awesome food experiences?
The pizza is insane. I'm a bit of a repetitious eater anyway, but the pizza off the chain, really amazing.
Bean and cheese burritos, probably nowhere to be found.
Nah, probably not so much. Yeah, they miss out on the Mexican, but there's it was really cool. It was a great time of year to go. The weather was awesome. They say it's coming off of the peak season, but this year is actually part of the Jubilee year, which is every 25 years in Rome. And they do, there's a lot of very significant things, and there's certain doors that are open, that are walled off, that are only opened every 25 years. And, there's it's tons of history, so
when you're walking around in Rome, from all the pictures I saw, everything looks super clean and it looks just really nice. And then you look at walking around downtown New York City, and it's just just seems dirty and gross. So is that just kind of pictures because it's historic sites that you're at, or is actually walking through the town, everything pretty clean?
I'm going to tell you, I think that through a lot of their downtown area, pretty clean. Pretty clean. They keep things up, they had, really, really good. It seems like their waste removal and sanitation seems pretty clean. And speaking of cleanliness, what a great segue for this week's podcast.
Yeah, that is perfect. This is the episode This is episode 32 we're on now. And one of the things, I mean, we've talked about a lot of things over 32 episodes, but one of the things that we haven't really hit on yet that is like super high up on my list, I'm sure it's high on your list. We'll figure that out as we go through this podcast, but is kennel hygiene and keeping everything sanitary that needs to be sanitary, clean, and what maybe potential buyers think, and just what it portrays. So thought we'd talk about that today, and maybe there's some tips and tricks that you might have to help people with their sanitation or their hygiene of their kennel, their cleanliness. So let's
Cleanliness.
do that.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because I think that dog breeders kind of have had maybe a deserved reputation of not being perhaps the tidiest people. And, they say, oh, well, they raise dogs, so they won't care, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's like, I think you have to go the other extreme and you need to be like really clean to be able to do it because you're bringing in dogs. You're whelping puppies and stuff, and you're like raising them through their developmental times. You're maintaining your dogs, which your grouping of dogs is like a little city, and you're going to have the young and the old, and you're going to have sick, and you're going to all the time. And the more dogs you have, the more of this is going on, and it's like, how do you keep these things under control? How do you keep these things from taking out your colony? And how do you keep your dogs to thrive? And then how do you keep it where it is nice for your family and for yourself and for everyone around? Because the dogs should not destroy your home. The dogs should not destroy your life. You shouldn't be like going, we would have people come over, but we can't because it's gross. That's a problem. And I think a lot of times it kind of happens incrementally with people, and they start out, it's like I have one dog or I have two dogs, and I did this litter and then I got another dog, and they kind of just add to their situation without really kind of going, hey, when you look at Rome, they have the aqueduct where all these fountains are going off of the same water source. They have their sewage system, which is like removing all of the waste from, I mean, they figured out how to keep a population of people healthy, and to avoid death by the plague from all of the filth. And that's so important. And with your dogs, especially in your breeding and all that, and you're adding to your numbers, this is so hugely important. This plan of how you're going to clean this is huge. And I think that that's kind of where, especially small breeders, kind of can sometimes get pulled into like trying to just do the house dog thing and having it morph and not really having a plan. So, I mean, what does your daily routine look like?
Well, I think what you just said kind of answers some of the question or dictates some of the topic, because depending on what kind of breeder or what kind of kennel you have, we're talking kennel hygiene. And I think a lot of people sometimes think, oh, kennel, and they're just thinking maybe more commercialized, where it's like I got dog runs out in this separate building. I have this kennel over here. It's not my house. It's not this. It's its own separate entity. But there's also so many more people that are doing it and breeding out of their house. And I mean, realistically, if you're housing dogs and you're breeding, you have a kennel. Whether it's your house or it's a separate entity of a building, you're running a kennel, and hygiene matters. And so for me, the biggest thing for me was what you said, daily. Like you have to, when you just have one or two family dogs and it's like they go outside and they do their doo-doo, and they have their little spot in the back corner of the yard or the front corner or in your flower bed, wherever it's at. They have their little spot, and it's like, yeah, I send a kid out, or, I hire the people to come over and pick up their poop once a week. It's like, that doesn't happen when you have a kennel. Like, you really have to focus on daily maintenance and daily cleaning. So for me, a lot of what I do is like, I mean, and it's all dependent on your system too, but I have daily kennel cleaning, and it's like, swap out beds if, I might not swap beds every day, but sometimes they have accidents. They need to be checked every day. So if they peed their bed during the night, you can get them a fresh, clean bed. They don't need to be sleeping in pee or doing any of that. Water, that's a main thing. Like you got to swap out water bowls and clean those every day because they'll grow goo in there. So
Mm-hmm.
just because their water bottle or their water dish is full doesn't mean it doesn't need to be cleaned and sanitary because bacteria can grow and spread that way. Poop's got to be picked up daily, and that's just a rule for me. Like poop's got to be picked up daily, and I don't like the idea of like spraying it down and just like pushing it away. It's like it's got to be picked up, bagged, or like cleaned up and out of here. Like I don't want it around. So like those are some of my like daily type of things. Is like the bathroom stuff's got to be picked up, and they need clean bowls and bedding.
So let's break it down a little bit. So whether you're doing a dog room in your house, whether you've taken the next step and you've like redone your garage into like an attached kennel, a dog room under the same roof of your house, or whether you have a freestanding kennel building, it's kind of like, degrees of what you're doing. But one thing that's kind of really, 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 really key to make something sustainable, it can't be overly labor intensive. I mean, you might be able to do the 25 easy steps once in a while uninterrupted, but on your day-to-day stuff, try to figure it out where you can really make it efficient. Try to not to make this a labor-intensive, super hard thing to do, because if it's too difficult, you're going to fall behind. Things are going to happen, schedules are going to get, and when you ask other people to do it, they're going to screw it up. They're not going to keep it the way you want it, and you're going to have it. So, like if a dog room in your house, okay, fine. Everybody's had that. No carpet. Carpet is not an acceptable thing to keep breeding dogs on. It's not good. I mean, that's not good. So carpet's off. That's a hard no. The other thing is,
what would you consider the main reason for that? Just trying to keep it clean?
carpet is going to pick up odor. Carpet's going to pick up the hair. It's going to pick up just little dribbles of this and that, the water bottles, the this, the that, whatever, moisture from their feet. It's not really a cleanable surface. When you're in the nursery at the hospital, they don't have carpet on the floor with the babies. Why? Because the babies are shitting and pissing, and they gotta change those little poop monsters.
It's a magnet, and then the more stuff that drops on it and drops on it and drops on it, it becomes a petri dish of
It's a petri dish
infection
because
and bacteria.
and you clean off the top and you go, oh, that's okay, but underneath the pad is
Well, how do you
picking up.
sanitize carpet? Like
You
you can vacuum
don't.
it, and
You
get the
vacuum
dirt
it.
off the
It's
top,
like
but you can't get
it's
the
like taking your
bacterias out.
dirty shirt off and going and wave it in the air a little bit and pulling it back on. It's not really clean. So carpet is a no-go. No carpet. So you can do.
So you hear it here first on the Tack Box Podcast. If you have carpet in your house, just go rip it out tonight. It's okay. Your husband,
It's okay.
your wife,
It's
they
all
don't
right.
care.
Yeah.
Just rip it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just have it not be in the area where you have your breeding dogs. I mean, if you have your one spayed or neutered pet that never has an accident, that lets you clean its feet every time it comes in and out of the yard, fine, I guess, but animals, carpet, not a good thing. So another thing that's kind of nice is whether you have linoleum, whether you have tile, whether you have, any of those kind of things like that, is going to be a better surface that you can go ahead and sweep and every now and again mop it, and you're going to be able to get it actually clean. I really love tile. My kennel room is all tile, because linoleum, which is fine in a small situation, but as you move crates around and X pens, linoleum will wear and tear. I mean, it's not as long. If you're like, this is going to be temporary, I'm going to do this and I'm going to redo this in a couple of years, fine. But if you're really going to invest in it for it, then I would go with tile, because tile is great. One thing that I really liked a lot was vinyl plank. And it's like, that's real common in the hospitals and stuff like that. Clean it. It's pretty water impervious. It's pretty nice stuff. If you damage a plank, you can heat it, pull up one, and replace just it. Kind of cool. But that's really nice. The other thing is on your walls. What do you have on your walls? I mean, are the wall just sheetrock? So if you have sheetrock on the walls and you don't want the sheetrock to pick up the dog odor, you might go ahead and think about getting some like shower board Formica type of finish stuff and just put up like a little wainscoting area around there where it'll kind of protect your sheetrock from the dogs. That's kind of nice. And then, like if you slide something into it, you're not going to create kennel equipment, dog grooming tables, all that's hard on walls.
Yeah.
So all of those things, like if you have, like I say, have some have that around the base there, you can wipe that down and you can get it really clean really fast, and it's not going to pick up hair or odor, and it's actually clean. That's those are kind of nice. Some breeds are more, you're going to have more shedding and more hair stuff. Some breeds are not. For myself, for a breeder kennel, I like a dry kennel. So what that is like some, we all see the stuff online where people go in and they're cleaning their kennel inside with the hose and washing everything down. I mean, I get it, but that's really difficult because that's going to raise your humidity and your moisture and the water draining out. I mean, if you have, which of course would be very difficult in your house, but that's kind of a USDA type of thing where you can wash everything down with disinfectant. You are far better to sweep, vacuum, and then mop is really a really nice way to keep, especially toy dogs. So you can really you keep it really nice and clean, and you're not going to play with your humidity level because humidity is not your friend. Because along with just the cleanliness, we want to have air exchange is super important. So, your air exchange into your dog room or your kennel room is really important. So I generally recommend don't necessarily have your HVAC for your whole house into your dog room because you're recirculating all of the air. So you'd probably be better off to put a window unit in that room and turn those vents off. Get a little higher, a little higher air exchange in there because fresh air, super good keeping the smell down, super good keeping the dogs healthy, less likely to have upper respiratories or wet faces, all of that just by keeping the air quality higher. There's some of those HEPA filters are really nice too. Those are worthwhile to clean with. Have you had any experience with any of that?
Well, I have a couple different scenarios, but yeah, so I mean, just even like thinking about like the hosing the down, so like that's awesome for outdoor if you got runs that go outside and you can wash everything down outside, power wash it or whatever. Inside, yeah, my mind goes to the same place yours does, humidity, which in toy breeds, like I don't want humidity. That builds up yeast infections in ears and all sorts
Destroys the
of
hair.
yeah, all
Destroys the
sorts
hair.
of weird things that go on. So, and I mean, it's a breeding ground for bacteria as well. So you
Mm-hmm.
throw humidity in with any sort of porous material that might collect something that you didn't get, and now you're just a petri dish. So that's definitely something that I think about. I think a lot of people when they think of sanitary think of like bleach, and it's like there's so many different cleaning options out there that you can do, but like you said, if you make it easy and it's just like I have a process that I do every single day or every other day, it's like don't let it get to the
I
point
do
where it's like
this day, I do this day, and a little
right.
bit of it each time adds up to a lot. I also am a super huge believer in dehumidifiers. I love a dehumidifier because like during uh, our summer months when we're getting lots of rain and it's warm, I mean that dehumidifiers they're kicking out a lot of water. And it's super important as far as like, because you always hear about, oh, the kennel cough is going through there. Well, you get a bunch of animals in an area breathing all the same air. It's kind of like coming off of a 12-hour flight and you've been in the plane. You're all breathing the same air. Whatever
It's just
somebody's putting
recirculating that
out,
dirty air.
you betcha you are. So the dehumidifier is super important. But one thing, like with when we were talking about the air conditioner in the summer months, and I clean the filters on my air conditioners every third day, and I clean take the front off and clean the facing of it and stuff. And I do that at the same time, and I use my Clorox spray, wash out the filters, Clorox spray, make sure there's no mold or anything in there. And I get a lot more life out of my units because I keep them from gunking up. And use an old slicker brush to clean the faces the coils in there. Just go through there and clean that inside because they'll suck in hair. And when you have breeze that will turn loose with hair, they really want to kill off your AC stuff. But as far as like you're cleaning inside, and there is like a gazillion really good things to clean with. I love bleach. I'm a bleach person. I like bleach. It's antiviral. You can use it inside. You can use it outside. It's fairly inexpensive. It's readily accessible. It dries quickly. It's a good all-round thing to use. And I, we do spray our runs with it. We mop with it. I spray it on my air conditioning coils. Like, we do a lot of bleach, and it does trick. If you mix it a little too strong, it will kind of eat up some of your equipment. So, be kind of careful, on that. If your stuff is like turning to rust, and rust is probably the biggest, because whenever you have a license, whether it's a state license or, whatever, they talk about rust. The thing that if you have a kennel license, they want no unsealed surfaces. So they're liking plastic, they're liking a tile, painted wood is okay. They hate wood, and they kind of go crazy on rust. Rust is a problem. If you have something where you're going to get an inspection on it, rust is going to be something you're going to fight. And you can deal with rust a little bit by going with galvanized, kind of, making sure that you don't over chemicalize while you're treating, and paint. Periodic painting takes care of the rust. And like I have a friend of mine that has bigger dogs, and she'll have her kennel panels, and the bottoms of them will get zapped with the urine and the electromagnetic, and those will rust. She'll paint them once or twice, and then she'll flip them. Just flip the panels over, put the painted stuff up on top, and have that there, and let them destroy the bottom ones for a while, and you can get double life out of them, right? Because the paint's not going to hold up as well as the galvanized will. But
yeah,
I really do. So when you're cleaning those outside. When you clean the outside areas and all, you have to, the urine and all it gets a grease on your X pens, especially if you have puppy pens and stuff. And so if you use a degreaser, this will, not every cleaning, but periodically, this will get the slime off of your X pens, off that stuff where you can really get them clean. This is one that we've used for a really long time, and it works really well. But there's lots of good products out there. It's just as one we use. The other thing is, if you are one of the better kennel cleaning stuff that you can use, also good for any viral stuff, all of that, very, very good. Bleach is always good, but there's other stuff in there too that can be very effective. They have also like those pellet cleaners where you put like the Whizzy wand. Those are good. If you're one of the people that can kind of like keep up with keeping them ordered and stuff like that, that pre-measured and stuff. I think that those are probably easier on your equipment, because
That's the
I just
thing,
say,
like, there's so many different options, and when you were talking about bleach, I was just kinda going to, like yeah, there's, like, Clean Guard and Wizzy Wash, and they're both, like, pellet
mhm,
systems where you have to have the
mhm,
tablets, but they have this
really
super nice
nice.
system, you just hook the toes up to it, you drop a tablet in, you can spray everything down.
Sweet.
It's
Yeah.
like I really like looking into certain things too because, like, what kennel cleaning, what kills coccidia or parvo or anything like that. Certain chemicals can and will, like bleach will, but it has to sit
Bleach
on
will.
there for a certain amount of time. So it's like
Well, it
you
has
have
to
to also
dry
kind
on
of
it.
like, yeah, it has to dry
It
on
has to
there.
dry
So
on it. Yeah.
if you just like
Yeah. It
do something and then rinse
So,
it
like, your
off, it's like
pen's
you didn't do it
inside,
too
like,
much.
you've raised
Yeah.
your litter inside in your X pen, even though you've cleaned it every day and all that, it's still gonna get the grease and scunge on it. After you kinda have to go, when was the last time that pen or those cages or whatever, you're gonna take them out, break out the power washer, get the Wizzy one, whatever, wash them down and bleach them, however you wanna do it. But I think that you kind of have to just to get a little rotation on it. Like in the bottoms of the X pens will start to collect hair, like on chin and that type of thing.
Hmm.
When you're breeding them, that's part of the reason anything that we're breeding that is we tend not to keep them in coat. We shear them off because the bottoms of all your crates and pens and stuff will gather that Spanish moss of hair around. And aside from not looking great, it's going to be keep odor and all of that. It's not as hygienic. So keeping the dogs bathed and clean helps. But then I periodically those pens have to come out. Vacuuming them in between and stuff will extend the period, but that come out, they gotta be washed down, cleaned real good, and disinfected, maybe degreased if they've raised puppies in there, and good clean disinfecting, and then put it back because that's how you're going to keep down your coccidiosis. That's how you're going to keep down, when they get their infectious stuff. That's the cleaner you can keep it, the nicer it's going to be for you, nicer it's going to be for the dogs, healthier the dogs are going to be, all of that. And so you set that system up in advance. It's like, this is really easy. I can do this really simply. Try not to keep a lot of stuff in your dog room. People tend to want to like hoard it up. The less it's in there, the more negative space, the easier it is to keep clean. Clean. Stacking up a bunch of empty crates in there is just going to gather hair, and it's just going to put those somewhere else where not where the animals are being housed. Keep just the essentials. Super easy to see. Super easy to get a night. Really invest in a good shop vac, and just kind of have your little plan in place as to how you're going to go through there and have your maintenance cleaning. I think
Yeah.
that's a good habit to get into.
And one of the coolest, so real quick back on like I'm a big bleach fan. I love bleach. I don't use bleach a lot, but as we were talking, it's like as you were talking, it's like, okay, so one of the things like you can go get bleach at Walgreens and anywhere. That's part of the problem with some of these degreasers and kennel cleaning systems is like if you're not
Got to plan
prepared
ahead.
and you don't have some in advance, what happens when you run out? Like it's a pain in the ass sometimes to have to like, oh,
Sure.
I got this. Oh, open up my tub of Wizzy Wash and I only got one pellet left. I need to order some. Oh, it's going to be a week out in delivery. Like, now what? That's the nice part about bleach. You get used to bleach and some of that stuff that you can go get Lowe's, Home Depot, Walgreens, the
Hmm.
dollar store, wherever, that's nice for that. One of the things that I found that I really like, I do have a pressure washer, but also in South Dakota when we have winter, and you can't hook a hose up year round because your faucets might freeze. I
Sure.
take one of those weed sprayers, those little gallon tubs,
Yep.
and you pump them, and then you got the wand, and you can spray around. Like, go get yourself a couple of those, and you can mix up some sanitary solution in there. You can take out to the garage or out into the front yard or backyard, whatever you need to do. Spray them down with that. Don't have to worry about your hose freezing in the winter because you're using one of those systems. Those work really good too, and they have just enough
We use
pressure.
those too. Those pump sprayers.
Yeah,
After we pick up the doo doo and we wash down the doo doo, then we go ahead and take the pump sprayer and just, with our 10-to-1 Clorox mix, spray through there and stuff. And it dries pretty fast because it's an even distribution where you have to, it's kind of like disinfecting for dummies. On the inside area, I mean, if you want to use like pine sol or something like that, I mean, that can be pleasant smelling. And if it's really more for just like keeping it, if it's not an area that is dealing in fecal matter, and you're just like freshening it up, you can do that a bit inside. You can mop with pine sol every now and again, and it's going to be clean and it's going to smell nice and all that.
Yeah.
All of those
Yeah.
will work well.
That's definitely nice, and I totally, agree, one of the mistakes I made right away was, the organizational piece that people get is like, "I want all my dog stuff in my dog room so I know where it's at, I want all the stuff here," and then it's like you get yourself stuck into this tight space of, all your dog stuff is right here, and it's like, "Do I need all this stuff here?" So it's, that's something that I've changed over time is, my kennel stacks are where my dogs are, it's like, it's pretty cleaned out. My meds are all in a medicine cabinet. My
Mhm.
whelping supplies are in the whelping area. It's like separate stuff out. Don't try to keep it all together because then you just make a cluster and,
And you
you're
can't
going to
clean it.
start collecting things. Yeah. It just gets to
You
be
can't
too
clean it.
much to clean.
Yeah, it's insurmountable. It's too much. One thing that I kind of, because I've always kept a lot of male dogs. I've always had, because we were kind of the mothership for stud service, and people would bring, we did a lot of breeding. So had a lot of boys, which the downside of the intact boys is, um, those urinal cakes that they sell at the cleaning supplies, stuff like that they actually put in the urinal, those are kind of great. You can hang them, you can stick them in the vent on the AC unit, all of that stuff to kind of keep it down where it doesn't exactly smell like the men's room. It will help with that, keep the ammonia down,
Oh, nice.
air
Yeah.
exchange and all that. Yeah. Boy dogs, they're great for it. But those are just
You're either
anything
going to
like
have
that
that or you're
will
going to
help.
have belly band crazy, and it's just like, that's a pain in the ass too, And if you're showing them, a real pain in the ass because nobody
One
wants a
thing that
belly
we
band on their
found
show
for
dog.
like, one thing we've done, because, of course, having toy dogs and you guys deal with extreme cold, we do with extreme heat. Both are challenging, but when you have to exercise them indoors, and you're not gonna be, there's times where they just can't go out. That's when you can like make a paper ball and put rubber bands all over it and put that in the middle of the X pen. And then the boys can just take turns annihilating it with urine. Very helpful, because then you can just go throw that whole thing away. And now we've gotten rid of all of that. That's helpful. A lot of times, like, on my 2x3s and stuff from my apartment units where I've got male dogs, I will hang a hospital pad, just clamp it up there, and they'll piss on that, which is kind of like a hanging belly band that they aim at. All of that, just so you can like let them overnight, let them urinate on it for 12 hours, and then like drop it in the wash, and you get that out. Because if you can kind of keep some of that in, people with big dogs, their dogs just rarely go to the bathroom inside. Like, I know, like but the true toys, the single digit weight dogs, puppies are going to be puppies, and breeding dogs, I mean, you're going to have a degree of indoor urination, defecation. And if you can kind of keep that, have a plan for that, it's gonna be way easier to keep clean.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, yeah, you have black labs or bigger dogs like that. I mean, they can go all day until you get home
Hmm.
and then let you know
Sure.
that they have to go outside. Toy dogs,
Yeah.
they're prissy little things. They're probably not even going to tell you they have to go outside. They might go stand at the door and be like, you're not here. Okay, lift my leg.
Yeah. I
Like,
asked
it's
once
just,
and you didn't jump,
yeah,
so too bad
right.
now. Heck,
And
I've got
plus they
that
can't hold it that
Pyrenees.
long. You go
Yeah.
to work all for 8 hours a day or something like that. Like, they probably are not holding it. And that's a lot
Yeah.
to ask.
Yeah. I know, like with our Pyrenees Samson, that we adopted, you know, I've had him now for a year. I've never actually seen his poop. I don't know where he goes. We're on 50 acres. I'm thinking somewhere about acre 43. There's probably some Samson poop out there, but he
There's a
doesn't do it
landmine
anywhere to even
somewhere, but
somewhere. We haven't found it yet. But, if they're, with like when you're having like an inside enclosed area, you kind of just have to have like especially when they're maybe having to exercise them inside, how you're going to do that and what that's going to look like. And even with I do like using the wood burning stove pellets with the puppies. It's a little messy because sometimes they use the litter box as a sandbox, and sometimes they're just like pellets, but it does smell better than urine. It does kind of keep it in a box. And so, where you do have a little vacuuming, you're not dealing with, urine and feces quite as much.
so that's how I'm handling puppies right now is pellets. It's like you're really surprising how quick like they just figure it out and they just naturally go
Mm-hmm.
to it. And it's like, I want to go poop in here, and then it's like, boop. You just take a tissue or a piece of toilet paper or paper towel, pick up
Drop
the
it
little
in,
turd, drop it in the
drop
toilet
the
or
Tootsie
whatever.
Roll. Yeah, drop the
Yeah.
Tootsie Roll in the commode.
And
Bye.
then it's like
Yeah.
they do make a mess. I mean, they're playing, they're learning. They'll run and they'll dive, slip and slide into the box of pellets, and it is, and it's like I've gone through. I don't know. I think I've done 4 or 5 different types of litter boxes now because I'm just trying to find like what might
The
contain the
perfect
pellets a
litter
little bit
box.
better. Yeah, or you think like right away is like, oh, this is gonna be great, and then they start chewing on it and real like, oh, maybe this isn't so great. Maybe we need something that they're not gonna chew apart. Yeah, so this is you figure it out, but it's very nice to be able to, we talked about that shot vac earlier, have a shot vac. It's very nice just to grab the shot vac every day, clean up the pellets around that they've scattered all over the place, and keep their area clean too. Super nice, super easy. And when you're talking like
And
a
it's fairly
40-pound bag
inexpensive.
yeah, 40-pound bag for at Lowe's is like 650. Tractor Supply is like 650. So I mean, a lot of people use those pads, and we have an episode talking about this. Is like when you use pads. I have nothing against pads, but I have a lot against pads. When you potty train dogs on puppy pads, rugs, anything like that now becomes a puppy pad. They associate anything with a puppy pad. So great, you tell them to use a puppy pad, perfect. Until you send them to their new home, and they have a rug by their door that the puppy thinks is a puppy pad.
Sure. And
But
those
you
pellets, you
spend
can just put a little handful out in the grass, and those little suckers will go out there to that spot in the grass and
yeah.
use them. I mean, they're great.
Well, and puppy pads really, like, when you think about the price, if you're picking 1 up a day, 2 up a day, and throwing them away, and you start pricing that out, yeah, wood pellets,
Well,
not so
I'm
bad.
super cheap, so I use the washables. I'm not going to throw pads away. I use the washable hospital pads.
I have a lot of washable stuff, and it's getting to the point now where it's like my washer and dryer are going 24/7 pretty much between, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yeah, eventually one of these things is gonna wear out, and we're gonna have to go get a new washer and dryer, but,
Speed
I
Queen.
like
Queen commercial.
I like white stuff, it's like you go and you're looking at like puppy pads and blankets and all that, and it's like, oh, look at these cool paw print patterns. And it's like, just give me solid white because I can bleach that, not have to worry about
Yep.
it. Just throw it in
Yep.
there, bleach it, everything's sanitary and good. So, what do you think? Like, I want to just talk on this real quick because a lot of people they think kennel, they think concrete, and it's like, what are your thoughts on concrete as
Well, now,
the flooring?
depending
Because
on
I
your
have my
breed,
thoughts. Okay.
of dogs. Like some breeds, the concrete's going to be fine. Say if you have like min pins or something like that, they don't actually have hair touching the concrete. They'll run their little nails down on it. That's awesome. The thing about concrete is it's got to have really extreme drainage and sloping. Concrete, wet concrete, there is no kind of smell like wet concrete, even if it's bleached and all that. So if you have like a drop coated breed, like a chin, those dogs are not going to remain and show quality for like 15 minutes. It's going to destroy their hair, and they're going to be stained, and they're going to smell bad. I mean, and you won't be able to wash that out because it's that ammonia smell from it. So, I mean, I have some concrete runs. you have to, they have to be washed down, they have to, have to be totally dry, have to be squeegeed, and then you can put dogs on it. But even still, like on some of my concrete areas, like if I'm gonna put puppies out there or whatever, because they're covered over, I'll put a pad for them down there to potty on or something like that, because it's really not, there's not a lot of drainage for it. It's not a awesome toy dog type of thing. My favorite is pavers or patio blocks. Those work really nice because if you put the pavers or the patio blocks, and that's something you can do, it's like, so say you live in like a normal house in a normal neighborhood, you can put a little yard together with the pavers, set them in some sand, and set your X pens on them, and they're going to drain really fast. They're going to, the moisture is just going to go shoop, and they're never going to have pockets where there's water sitting and standing. It's going to drain nice. It just has a little kind of a pleasant patio vibe going on there. And it doesn't rip up the hair as bad, and they're not as stinky. I do a lot of my show dogs on pavers, and I have no problems with that. Your other option, of course, gravel. That kind of how good a gravel you're using. I never put gravel all the way up to my buildings because they're going to drag a lot of dirt and stuff in off of that gravel. And I never have gravel where it's really covered over all the way because the sun and the rain need to hit the gravel in order for it not to get really yucky. It's, there's several good things on that. But like I say, concrete is kind of like an old idea of like boarding kennel. This is how we have concrete. And you can use concrete, but you might have to do something on top of it, like maybe whether you get like dry deck or something to keep them from just being like a pissy, gross mess like that.
And sometimes I think like, there's a couple different types of concrete. There's like your sidewalk outside, and it's like rough
Hmm.
and porous. Like, I don't know that you can really sanitize that very well. It's porous. It can soak some of that stuff
Yeah,
up.
you're getting the sun on it. You're getting the sun on it, and that'll kind of air, sun. A lot of that will burn stuff off. But I do like my runs to be pretty porous because nothing, you're going to get hurt on them, and the dogs are going to, if it's got a polished finish and it gets a little bit
If it's like
wet.
your garage flooring.
Ooh,
Yeah, it turns into an
yeah,
ice skating
yeah.
rink.
You end up on your keister. And, and like I say, and part of it is like like my runs that, they're like a slope, and it's all
Hopefully not
broomed
that
going
angle.
down. I'm serious. They have over a foot drop in like,
Wow,
yeah,
nice.
like you're winded by the time you get to the top. But yeah, but the,
But runs need
turds,
slope. You
yeah,
gotta have slope so it
you
all
can't
drains
get
away.
enough slope on them. Can't, and you need to broom them down so all the moisture goes away so they stay dry. Because wet runs are just disgusting. They're
Yeah.
awful.
And that's how you
No
get a lot
dog
of
is.
that smell, is just
That's how
like
you get that smell that doesn't go away, that kennel smell, and it's like, ugh, you know. So, I mean, patios, pavers, patio stones, gravel, concrete if you're smart with it, you can make anything work. It depends on your breed, depends on your area, depends on your circumstances, how you're going to set it up and how what your plan is on cleaning it and stuff, and what your schedule is. Because like one thing about gravel, you know if you're gonna have to like pick it up in the afternoon, if you can't do it in the morning or that type of thing, gravel's probably the most forgiving, as far as like, if you don't, you can probably that can probably slide a lot longer than concrete or pavers, because it's gonna kind of start stacking up pretty quick.
yeah. All right. Anything else on sanitization,
Well, I just think the big thing is
hygiene? I mean,
keeping it
keep your poop
keeping it
cleaned up.
simple. Keep it
Yeah.
simple. Keep it where it's not labor intensive, and kind of have a plan for it, and where it's sustainable for you, for dogs and all that. And they'll sure make your dogs will do better. You'll do better. You'll enjoy them.
Don't forget your water bowls or your buckets. A lot of people take water buckets and they hang them in there, and it's just like,
Hmm.
man, don't forget those things because those things go slimy so fast and they grow bacteria so fast, and it's just like, ugh.
Sure. I mean, just have that on your sheet like every other day. you know, Wednesday, Friday, whatever, I'm gonna do buckets, so I'm gonna do this on this day, I mean, that kind of thing. Is have a little plan in place, where you can kind of keep ahead of that. And I think that not it doesn't get overwhelming if you have it, if you can't keep a program.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. I think that'll,
Keep it clean, people. You got
yeah,
this. You can do
just
it.
keep it clean. It's like a hospital environment. Sterilize. Come on. It's easy,
There you go.
maybe.
Or at least a
It's a little
daycare.
bit time consuming, but it's part of the job. It's part of doing it, and you're going to have way more success and be way happier with a sanitary kennel. So,
Absolutely.
all right. All right. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Tack Box Podcast. We really appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube and like us on Facebook. Follow us. Share this with your friends and your family. Help us grow. We appreciate each and every one of you. We will talk to you guys next week. Bye bye now.
Bye.